Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel, and today we're gonna be talking about the Rwby Season 6 finale.
Fuck you thinking, nah, ain't doing no more favors. Never need a nigga just to make me famous. Lil nigga flow go crazy, and them other niggas can't tame it. Flame it, flame it. All of the niggas that doubt it. All y'all niggas some cowards. All y'all niggas step up and get devoured. 6 feet deep with a bouquet of flowers. Tell me what am I supposed to do? Cause respect for mine is so overdue. I'm the best in it, just pay attention, take a closer view, cause what I'm supposed to do.
The much anticipated season of Rwby Volume 6 has just concluded, exploring a lot of the questions that we needed answers to. What happened to the moon? Will Rwby learn to control her eyes? And what's Osman's past and his connections with the maidens? And who the hell is Salem? Before I do a review on the entire season in a separate video, today I'm just going to talk about this season's finale. We begin with a scene of Sydnor and Neo getting ready to enact their revenge on Rwby. I've been pretty excited to get this all season, but I guess we'll have to wait for the actual fight. I really think Neo will continue where the fight left off with Yang in the Season 2 No Break episode, considering it's highly unlikely that Rwby can fight both her and Cinder at the same time. It's also pretty cool to see her semblance, which allows her to create illusions that everyone sees. I'm not sure when exactly they might turn up, but I wager they might come to Atlas in Season 7. And God, I like the back and forth banter between the two, and despite how cynical they both are, they've chosen to unite and pursue the vengeance they have on Rwby, both choosing to focus their hatred on a person rather than understanding themselves. It's easy to express your frustrations and point the blame on someone like Rwby than it is to understand your own shortcomings. In the next scene, we pick up right where we left off last episode with an attack on Argus by a Leviathan. Now, they never specify which kind, but we can make a best guess as to it being a king Leviathan, which best fits the profile. It is well over 600 feet in length, and its sheer size would make it difficult for it to maneuver in shallow water. Classification, it being a crocodile, and the subspecies and the ranking of it being SS+. And its weakness appears to be it's oblivious to smaller objects. And there was a scene when Rwby was on Weiss's Lancer's summoning, and it appeared right in front of her, and everyone was shocked because it seemed to ignore everything that was that size, besides her, of course. So as it threatens to destroy the city of Argus, and because Cordova's Colossal is incapacitated, partly due to her own arrogance, the Atlas base has little they can do to protect the people. So we get Team Rwby and Juniper trying to figure out how to stop it, because they're not going to go down without a fight, even though this would have been the best chance for them to escape, as pointed out by Maria, who reminds them of the stakes of the mission. This is the moment Rwby enacts her strategy. But can we just talk about how phenomenal a leader Rwby has been this season? She's really stepped it up this season, and I'm glad the focus was on her. Honestly, after Season 3, she really dropped for me as a character. I just felt she wasn't getting focus and development, and she was more of a spectator, if anything. I know Rwby has 4 main protagonists, but as the leader of that team, she really should have just as much development, if not a bit more, amongst the team. I want to rewind and talk about a specific scene in Rwby Season 5, Episode 5, where Blake mentions to Sun, "Have you ever met a person that is the personification of one word?" She goes on to say that when she met Rwby, she remembers thinking she represents purity. Yang also speaks on this in Season 2, Episode 10, when she says Rwby has always wanted to become a huntress. Ever since she was little, she trained hard to get to where she is today. She knew being a huntress is what she wanted to do. She's dreamt about being the heroes in the books she's read, helping people and saving the day, never asking for anything in return. In this season, she's been doing just that and more. There's a moment when the entire team is trying to figure out what they should do, and after the Leviathan breaks down the barrier, everyone is in pure shock at the sheer power. But then the camera pans in on Rwby, standing in the back, and in a matter of a few seconds, she's able to quickly calm herself down and realize they are relying on her strength and her strategy. Because if it's not her, who else? This is how heroes are born. When faced with a decision, they act out of pure instinct in the moments that matter. And everyone places their faith in her because they not only believe in her determination, but it's the purity of heart that you can't help but follow her. She's not the strongest or the most powerful in Team Rwby, but she's the most capable. Despite the concerns everyone has, she tells them, I don't have much of a choice. It's what I have to do. It's what we have to do because it's our responsibility. Because I mean... No. But another moment is when Rwby discerns she has her team and doesn't have to face this alone. She ends up creating a plan using Weiss's summoning a Lancer to provide mobility, and she uses her silver eyes to petrify the Leviathan. Can you imagine the emotions she's feeling? She's terrified, nervous, and stressed, but she knows everyone is relying on her. You have to be as confident enough in your abilities and be tough enough to follow through to be as brave as Rwby is. My favorite scene in this episode by far is when she takes out her earpiece when I believe Yang tells her to hurry up, and she does this to concentrate. Like, can a girl get some peace and quiet? So as she closes her eyes to focus, she first remembers good memories, but then all sorts of painful memories resurface. And also, I thought it was pretty cool that it's the same character design and art style they used for the poster season 6, which I thought was pretty cool as these images flash by. Anyways, when she opens her eyes, the Leviathan is right in front of her, and she uses Jin to slow things down, giving her more time, which even Jin states was pretty clever, despite going on to say this would be the only time she would allow it. She closes her eyes once more and recalls all the good memories that she's had that shaped her as a person, even getting one shot of her mother, Summer Rose, finally. It's pretty cool considering everything is playing in slow-mo as well. She uses her silver eyes, which petrifies the Leviathan, but before anyone can celebrate, it turns out it's still alive and she only managed to stop it in its tracks. But it creates an opening for Cordova to finish the job, finally being useful for once. And after a quick conversation between the two, she agrees to let her and her team go to Atlas. Anyways, I'm probably going to do a character analysis on Rwby sometime in the future because she's been so well portrayed in season 6, honestly to the point where she's my favorite this season of Team Rwby. Now, I'm Team Bumblebee all the way. It's as simple as that. The greatness that is Yang and Blake has finally come to light. It's been building up, especially in the second half of this season. They complement each other so nicely, and I'm really happy to see them taking their relationship to the next level. It's pretty much confirmed that they are a thing, if the subtext hasn't made it clear already. But as far as development goes, Blake has really struggled with who she is since season 1 up until now, struggling with being a faunus, Adam, hurting her team, and betraying Yang. Honestly, out of all of Team Rwby, she is the most developed. But Yang has also gone through so much, especially in season 4 and 5. They reunited and they've been trying to find a place in each other since this season has started, figuring out that they can rely on each other and that they can lean on each other. Both of them being hurt by Adam physically and emotionally, overcoming that obstacle when they not only killed him, but they're finally able to move on from that burden together. You're not 100%, but the fact that Blake is able to admit and find acceptance and that she is no longer alone, that Yang is by her side, really shows how far they've come. Let's talk about Rwby's dad. NANI? I mean Rwby's uncle. Oh, shout out to Silvers. But just like his sister Raven, he's really struggled with himself. This is probably due to the fact of him finding out the truth about Ospen in the beginning of the season. I mean, he really hit rock bottom, blaming himself for his incompetence as a leader and keeping a distance from others because of his semblance. On more than numerous occasions, Rwby really had to step it up and tell him to chill the hell out, especially since he's been drinking a lot, drowning his regrets. Let's be honest, he's an alcoholic. But at the end of this episode, he really is taking a step to better himself. Crow's character is interesting, one to say the least. I'll be diving into his character and his psyche in another video because he is in my top 5 favorites. On a side note, now I know some people may disagree with this, but I've always believed he'd die at the hands of Salem protecting Rwby one day. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. This episode doesn't conclude on a giant cliffhanger, but it was rather lackluster, especially in the end. They arrive at Atlas and we see that the military is preparing for an invasion, most likely due to the fact of Salem preparing her mass army of Grimm. I did really enjoy the moment in the end, scene where Emerald and Mercury are staring at Salem as she's pulling Grimm out of this dark pool, and Hazel comments on the fact if you want to get something done, it's best you do it yourself. I really did enjoy that comment. Overall, this episode was an 8 out of 10, but I'm super excited and I cannot wait for the greatness that is to come in Season 7 and what will happen at Atlas, as well as what Salem is gearing up for. Okay guys, that's going to do it for me today. Like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, you can find me in the Discord. I'll link. Stay tuned for my next videos.